The direct-to-consumer market in golf equipment has seen significant growth in the past couple of years, with tons of people taking advantage of the potential value on offer. Now, as a dedicated gear tester, I've been able to test a lot of this stuff, so stay with me because in this video I'm going to pick out my ultimate direct-to-consumer bag. Right, so starting from the top with driver, and this one surprised me a little bit. This is the Vice Golf VGD01 Plus. Not the catchiest name, I think you'll agree. This is the low spin model. And the reason it surprised me is when I first pulled it out, there's quite a lot going on with it in terms of this quite bright colorway in the shaft that came with it. There's a busy crown, a lot going on the crown there in terms of the looks. And underneath we've got these ridges. It look like they're straight off the Batmobile. It's an interesting looking golf club. There's a lot of visual stimulation going on here. And I don't know whether I had my snobby head on, but when I put it down in behind the ball, I really started to like it. It sits very squarely. It's got quite a neat squat head and it frames the ball beautifully at address. So from a looks point of view, I've really become quite fond of it, although it's quite different. And crucially, in terms of the raw performance, that's what really impressed me here in terms of launch monitor data. So some of the direct-to-consumer clubs that I've tested in the past can fall down when you're actually measuring the data. But this excelled in terms of spin, and this is a low spin driver. It was incredibly consistent, which is key, but also nice and low, so it really does its job as a low spin driver. I couldn't spin it above 2,400 revs throughout testing, so it gave me a really nice penetrating ball flight. And the ball speed was excellent as well. Again, that's been leveled at some of these direct-to-consumer drivers. They aren't quite as quick as the top manufacturers. Well, this kept up with anything, so I was really impressed, and that's why this Vice Golf driver has made it the first choice in my ultimate direct-to-consumer bag. Okay, so now for my choice of Fairway Wood, and I've chosen a Tour Edge product, and it is the Tour Edge Exotic C725 Fairway Wood. Now, anyone who saw my driver review of the C725 will probably know why I've put this in. It very nearly made it into the driver spot, but the Vice just pipped it, so I wanted to get this model in there somewhere, and the Fairway Wood is quite brilliant. When you put it in behind the ball, this is one of the nicest shapes of Fairway Wood I've ever seen. It's beautifully rounded. It's got all the right proportions to give you both a sense of feel of confidence at address, but not too bulky. It's just got everything in the right places in terms of curves and proportions. It's exactly what I want to see looking in behind the ball. And I think the sort of carbon effect on the crown gives it a really premium look as well. And then underneath, you've got a bit of tech that can help. You've got what they call their flight tuning system. So you've got an adjustable weight system here, so we can make it higher or lower spinning. And we've got a loft sleeve on here to tune it into the lofts that you want. From a feel point of view, I've got a ball here to demonstrate. I hope you can pick this up on the audio. You might have noticed from driver, I like sort of a more thuddier impact. That's got a real thuddy strike, a dull thud. This has got that same dull thud, but just with a little bit more life. It really produces a great sound at impact. Now, it might not be a ball speed monster when I put it up against some of the major OEMs. It came out for me around 1.5 to 2 miles an hour slow, but that's not what this is about. It's really easy to launch, but with no excessive spin. So it gives me a really solid ball flight, both in the 15 degree and the 18 degree 5 wood that I've tried. This is a real favorite of mine, and this actually might be making it into my own bag. So that's why it's in my ultimate direct-to-consumer bag. Now, my next choice bridges the gap between the Fairway Wood and the main iron set. So I wasn't sure whether to go for a hybrid, but I've picked a utility iron, and particularly this one I really like is the Tacomo 101U utility iron. Now, Tacomo made a huge splash in this direct-to-consumer space, arguably the biggest disruptors of them all. And the driving iron I think is really cool. It's got that real Tacomo signature minimalist look, not too much going on, which I love. If you take the branding away from clubs for me, I think they always look a little bit cleaner, and this is a great example of that. One thing I don't love about it, the back edge sticks a little bit out on the top. That's one of my gripes with some utility irons, but it's nicely mirrored, so it kind of blends in with the background amongst it. And another thing that I do love about this, it is hot. It is super quick. So a hollow body, it comes really quick off the face. It's a really versatile club. The width of sole is very useful as well, makes it very versatile from all sorts of turf conditions. And when you factor in it's £119 or $119, this is incredible value, and that's why it's in the bag. Right, so in the irons, I've indulged myself a little bit here. I've picked some blades, so I know that's not going to be everyone's cup of tea, but these are such a great example of what direct-to-consumer manufacturers can do now. And I've picked the Hogan Fort Worth blades. These are the MBs. And straight away, when you look at them, you probably see why. I think aesthetically, from a shelf appeal point of view in the bag, they're just astonishing. All the topography and the shaping of the back looks absolutely beautiful. We've got this blend of old and new as well. So we've got that kind of old Hogan scripture written on there, the old Hogan logos. We've got the knurling around the ferrule there, which gives it that kind of old-fashioned look. And the ferrules are super long, which again is kind of harking back to the olden days, but the rest of the shaping and everything else that's been done on this head really gives it a more contemporary look. So it's that beautiful blend of old and new when you look in the bag. And in behind the ball, it just gets better and better for me. I would argue that these are some of the nicest looking blades in terms of profiles behind the ball that I've ever seen. Some blades are very angular, some get a little bit more rounded. These got a nice sort of squat boxy look to them, and every club from 4-iron through to pitch and wedge are bang on the money, and that's something I don't see all the time in all sets of irons. Quite often you can like the look of some longer irons, you like the look of the wedges, but the mid irons might quite not do it for you, or it could just be one individual club. Literally every single club in this set looks exactly as it should. In terms of performance, they don't let you down either. Sure, there's not much tech packed in because it's a blade, but the feel is exceptional. And their kind of dual cut sole here makes turf interaction an absolute dream. In terms of blades from a direct to consumer, there is not much better than this. This is a great piece, and that's why it's in my bag. Right, I hope you're enjoying this video. If you are, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. It really helps us. And tell me what you think about my choices so far. Do you agree? Do you disagree? And what have I missed? Get in the comments down below. Okay, now, so for my wedges of this ultimate direct-to-consumer bag, I've gone a little bit left field, and I've gone with a Voda Golf. Now, some of you may know a Voda from Bryson DeChambeau, who had a Voda clubs in the bag when he won his US Open, and more recently, Jason Day's been dabbling in kind of the curved face irons. But I wanted to shout out these wedges because I think they're absolutely brilliant, in particular the W2 wedge. Now, firstly, in terms of the looks, again, right up my street, super minimal, very little branding, really clean and neat. So that's a good start for me from a shelf appeal point of view. And then again, when I put them in behind the ball, the profiles are just great. There's very minimal offset, a slightly rounded leading edge, and the shaping is just exactly what I would want to see. They're really, really good from that point of view. But the main reason I put them in is the sole technology. The grind on these wedges, this W2 grind, is really interesting. Now, when you look at it from a sole point of view, and I'll pop some B-roll up of it now, it will look like there's an awful lot of bounce. So the angle is quite steep, but there's a lot of trailing edge relief and there's an awful lot of leading edge relief. So you don't get that sharp leading edge. You've got a bit of a buffer there. And I'm not going to say they're duff proof because someone will prove that wrong, I'm sure, and send me a video of it, but they're very, very close. This is the most forgiving grind I think I've ever seen on a wedge, and I really, really like it. And one more thing I do like about these wedges, now this is a little silly point, again I've said I don't like too much stuff going on the club head in terms of information, so at times I feel like I don't need to know the exact loft, I don't need to know the bounce, I don't need to know the DNA or the blood type of the wedge. And we've just got a good old-fashioned G, S and L on these wedges, so it's a gap, sand and a lob. Their standard lofts within that are the gap wedge is 50, the sand wedge is 55, and the lob wedge is 60. So you can obviously manipulate that either way, but I just like the simplicity of having that letter rather than the exact loft stamped on there. Just a thing for me, and that's another reason why it's made it into my ultimate direct-to-consumer bag of 2025. So on to the flat stick. Now this is an important choice, and I've gone with probably a more little known brand amongst a lot of people out there. This is a brand called Kevin Burns. So we got sent some stuff from Kevin Burns at Golf Monthly a little while ago, and putter tester Sam Diath just fell in love with this stuff. So it's super high end. It is a little bit more premium in terms of price tag, but it's so beautifully crafted. I think you'll see from the B-roll that I'm running here that maybe that price tag is justified in the craftsmanship and workmanship that's gone into this putter. Now, a few of you might not know, but Kevin Burns actually designed a putter for Jose Maria Olazabal, the 9304, I think it was. This is the 9307 model. So a 9304 for Jose Maria Olazabal when he won the 1999 Masters. So it's a major winning brand, which is really interesting. Now, there's a few things about this putter that make it very interesting. We've got a little screw piece on the bottom of the sole, so you can actually interchange different necks if you decide you want to feel a bit more toe flow or you want to get into a plumber's neck. We've got a screw that allows us to change those necks in and out, and the transition from where that goes in and out of the club head, you would just never notice. It is beautifully disguised. We've also got a pyramid face here, which provides a superb roll. And again, I'm going to run some B-roll. I don't know if I've ever had a putter that as soon as you hit it, the impact ratio is so small and the ball gets rolling so quickly. So based on that level of performance, based on these incredibly premium looks and craftsmanship, I make no apologies for putting this Kevin Burns 9307 putter in my ultimate bag. Okay, so the final piece of the puzzle is the golf ball, and I've brought with me arguably one of the most spoken about golf products of the last couple of years. This is the Kirkland signature golf ball, and it's probably most widely known for its incredible value for money. But behind the value is actually a really good golf ball. We've got a 3-piece urethane golf ball. And in my testing, I did some testing of this golf ball up against a Pro V1. I messed about with different drivers, with the Kirkland driver, with the Titleist driver. That's another video you can watch on the Golf Monthly channel. And it actually really held its own. The only thing you're giving up, in my opinion, is potentially a little bit of the greenside spin you get with a more premium ball. But when you talk about ball speed and the consistency of the flight window and the feel, and also the durability for that matter, this is a really good option, not just from a value point of view, but from a golf ball point of view as a standalone option. So that's why it's in my bag. So there you have it. Those are my choices for my ultimate direct-to-consumer bag of 2025. What do you think? Get in the comments down below. Tell me why I'm wrong. Tell me what I've missed out. These are my personal favorites. I want to hear what you've tried in that direct-to-consumer market and what you love.